Ooh. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Manchester United versus Fulham away at Craven Cottage. And the starting lineup is on your screen right about now. Some interesting selections here. I'm going to pretend like I've not had technical difficulties before I was coming on. I was initially scheduled to come on probably about 5-10 minutes beforehand, but for some bizarre reason, OBS decided to be a bit of a bitch if we're being transparent. But we are here. You guys are here. Let us know your thoughts on that team that is on your screen. Onana in net, De Ligt, Maguire and Martinez as your back three. Mazraoui, Bruno Fernandes and Ugarte in the midfield. Diego Dalot as your left wing back. Why is he our left wing back? Because there's nobody else there. Simply put, there is no one else until potentially Dorgu comes in. And even Dorgu, you don't know if he's going to be the man when he comes in. So it'll be Dalot for the majority for the rest of the season. I know it's painful. I know people don't like it. I know he chops in all the time and doesn't really hold the width a lot. But this is what we're dealing with at the minute, unfortunately. The front three is very interesting, though. Ahmad, Højlund, and Garnacho. Now, typically when Amarin picks a front three, he usually has a creative and then more of a prototype kind of winger, and then obviously a striker up top. And, of course, we've seen the likes of Joshua Zirkzee start the past couple of games on a more frequent basis. I mean, I'm pretty sure he started the past 3-4 games, I want to say. So, yeah, seeing Højlund start is a big shout. I'm interested to know why he's gone with Højlund in this game specifically. I thought he would have gone with the last game with, Brighton, for example. Not in the Rangers one, but Brighton, for example, opening up. Whereas Fulham are really organised, they're hard to break down at times. So, yeah, I'd like to know. I hope they ask him about this in the presser. I don't think they will. Not in the presser, in the pre-match interview, sorry. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Højlund starting up top, Garnacho as your left-sided one. Obviously, there will be rotation in there, but he's obviously more impressed with the way Garnacho's performing at the moment, and according to a lot of people, he's on his way out. So it's also going to be interesting to see what happens when Garnacho goes. Who the fuck is going to play there, people? That's what I want to know. More to the point, let's get everyone's thoughts. Let's see what people are saying. Make sure you smash the like on the video if you are just joining us, and let us know your thoughts in general. Punch paint with the starting 11 in there. Substitutions as well. Bayındır, Yoro, Malacia, Lindelof, Casemiro, Collier, Eriksson, Mainu and Zirkzee. Do we think Collier deserved an opportunity, potentially? Yeah, I was a fan of his performance. Obviously, he made a couple of mistakes against Rangers, but apart from that, he was pretty solid, wasn't he? So, yeah, I guess he probably wouldn't have been on the pitch, to be fair. If they were selling Garnacho, he wouldn't be playing. There's no way we'd risk him getting injured if we were looking at him as a financial asset. I take your point. The thing is with Garnacho, I don't think has he ever been injured? Touch wood. I don't think he's actually got an injury record, to be honest with you. Let's have a look. I can't remember him ever being injured. No, there's not even a page on it, so yeah, I'm not sure. Why aren't we giving our second choice keeper a chance? Yeah, Bayındır is the interesting one, isn't it? There was a lot of reports before the game stating that he hadn't travelled with the squad, so a lot of people were thinking, oh, what's going on? Has he been a bit of a Barney? Has there been a bit of a what have you? But no, he's starting, which, to be honest with you, I've made my feelings pretty clear on the situation with Onana. I'm done with him. I don't, that he could have, and people might call us an agenda or what have you, but he could literally play for the next 6 months and do perfectly well, and everyone would be raving about him, how good of a keeper he is, and the shots that he saved, and blah, blah, blah. He will always make mistakes. Always make mistakes. That is the issue with him. You know he's got a clanger in him, and you can't trust a keeper who do that frequently. The guy's he's in double figures. I don't want to start the stream off in a negative fashion, but he's in double figures for mistakes, which is the same as amount as De Gea made in his whole time at United, pretty much. So I've lost complete trust and faith in this goalkeeper. I don't know about you guys, but that is just how I feel about it, genuinely. The back three, De Ligt, Maguire and Martinez, is probably our best back three. I know people like Yoro, but he's still learning, and we saw that from the Southampton game. He's still got to learn his trade. De Ligt, I actually like as a right-sided centre-half. Martinez had a fantastic game, I thought, against Rangers, and obviously got the assist for Bruno Fernandes. And then if you're going to pick a slot for Maguire, it's that central centre-back role. Edge of the box, defending at times, really good in the air, strong, can ping it. Well, he's typically good in the air. I say that. If you watch the goal that Rangers scored, it was pretty shocking the way he tried to deal with it. But typically he is good there. And Amarin's system, the way the wing-backs kind of spread out, he requires, those kind of long-range ping passes out to the wingers, or wing-backs, should I say. Majari and Dallo is where it kills us, really, which is weird to say because Majari is such a talented player. You should never be saying that, really. I prefer him as a right-sided centre-half, typically. But Majari as a wing-back just doesn't really give you much. I feel like they both get nosebleeds when they get into the final third. So it kills us. It kills us because we're kind of dominated in the middle because we've only got two players in there, in Ugarte and Bruno, for example. So whatever team comes up against us seem to overload the midfield and we struggle with numbers there. And then these big gaps either side of those two players as well. So they really exploit them spaces. If you think back to Ipswich, for example, Amari Hutchinson in literally Amarin's first game, he was exploiting those spaces. You can go through a million games where teams have targeted it, and I think Fulham will probably do the same today. So the wing-backs need to be switched on, need a better performance from them in particular. Then you've got Amad and Garnacho. I mean, Amad's doing his thing. He's consistent at the moment. I hope he doesn't get affected by the United stink, and by the United stink, I mean, we've seen players who've come in who've been really, really good, and then they just get grabbed all of by this environment and pressure, and it just makes them crumble. But Amad is by far our best player at the moment. So if anything is going to happen today, it's through him. We know that, don't we? Garnacho, again, starting to come up to a little bit of form. And one thing I will say on Rasmus Højlund, for sure, he needs to step it up today. If you look at our goal scorers this season, or lack of goal scorers, should I say, it doesn't read very well. I said stop. Why have I put stop scorers? Top scorers, I meant. Let's get into it. I'm pretty sure Rasmus Højlund has got 2 goals and Joshua Zirkzee has 3 goals. That's what we're looking at the minute. And we are, 23, 24 games into the season? It's game week 23 in it so far. No way near enough goals. No way near. So Højlund, if you want to start proving doubters wrong or really gain the trust back, I know he's a young striker before people say, I get that. And shouldn't be starting for United anyway. But we're in this situation. They paid a lot of money for you. They believe in you clearly. So, time to light it up. Hopefully. Because there is people, I speak to my mate all the time about him who was a decent striker himself and he was left-footed as well. And he says, nah, he's got ability, trust me. He's a top player. But he's just raw around the edges. He needs a bit of development. He needs the pressure off him, to be honest with you. Not the pressure, but he needs a big seasoned striker to take the weight of the goals that we need in the team. And then he should just be coming on as a bit of an impact sub, in my opinion. But we don't have that. We brought Zirkzee in, but he's still adapting. He's still new. He's not necessarily a clinical striker that you require. He's a completely different profile to Rasmus Højlund, so it was struggling, and this is what we're going to deal with in a minute. And that's why I thought, actually, especially if you're going to let Alejandro Garnacho go, you better replace him. You better bring in someone who's going to immediately affect the team, and we touched on this when we did our Sunday social before. Matheus Cunha would be a name straight off the bat that I would be like, please, for the love of God, bring him in. That is someone I would definitely look to bring in, but United won't do any business like that. All you're hearing out of the club at the moment is fucking PSR this and PSR that, and we can't do this, and we've got to sell this player, and it's like, well, what about... I know people think we're pretty much dusted in the league already, but what about it? You know what I mean? Like, do you have no ambitions whatsoever? Do you not want to win the Europa League? You're just going to sell Garnacho and then just, leave it at that and call it a day? Like, it's bollocks. You need to go and buy some quality players. City are way above us in the league. I know we beat them in December and everyone, thought it was the next coming of Christ. But City are way above us in the league. Obviously, they've been struggling to their standards. And they've gone, do you know what? We need a centre-back. I know we had a bit of a stinker yesterday, granted, but we need a centre-back. We need to bring in an attacking player because we didn't really replace Julian Alvarez. Sold him for 80 million, didn't replace him. Let's go get Marmoush and let's go get that centre-back from Lawrence. And that's Man City, who, title challengers for the past 5, 6, 7 years, however long it's been. But no, good old United, who are in 14th, I believe, at the moment. Probably dropped down due to a couple of the results today. We need players and we need a wing back, and it's the bartering on certain fucking things. It's just frustrating, isn't it? Get the deals done. You're leaving it, and I don't want to make this a transfer show because we are working the build up for the game. But we need players in. You need to go buy players. You know what I mean? Like, you talk about financial cuts and how much it's hurting them if they're not in the Europa League. Well, you don't have any more of a chance being in if you don't sign any players. You know? Tonight's game is a tough one. Against Fulham, if anyone who's watched Fulham before, you know they are well drilled, extremely organised. They press really well off the ball. They've got a lot of athletes in the team, not to mention Adama Traore, who's probably going to have Lissandro on his list of players to rugby tackle, basically. They will outrun us, outsprint us everywhere, and they'll do us, especially at home. Especially at home. So, I'm to be honest with you, I'm not really sure what kind of performance to expect from United today. I don't know if they're going to go there, if they're going to park it a little bit and have a transitional game, or if they're going to try and impose Amarin's style, because we don't have the players fit for it. A lot of the players do not suit this system. That's why I'm fascinated with that front three, Højlund, Garnacho and Amad. How is that going to click together? Are they going to work? My God, we need goals. Go there and score 2-3 goals. Give United fans something, because each game, especially, we don't end up scoring in the majority of games until like the 70th, 80th minute. Typically, we were really slow starters, and we always concede first as well, early in a lot of the games. Think about the Brighton game as well, and it just pegs us back. So, I don't know. I need to double check. I put a bet on the West Ham and Villa game, so I'm just double checking that. But get your thoughts in about it. Are you happy with that team? Are you upset? You know? Oh, I just need Boubacar Kamara to get a card, apparently, I think. Alvarez has been shown a card. Yeah. All right, let's go to the comments. Sorry, people. Good point, Nick. Garnacho played like 60 straight games. But typically, Punch, what it'd be this game that happens when we want to sell him. That's just United for you. Amarin clearly doesn't want more headlines by dropping Onana, I think, but I'm in the same boat as you. I'd bring De Gea back right now. And you know what? There was a lot of people at the time, including myself, who said, I understand why you would bring Onana in. If you want a ball-playing goalkeeper, and this was Ten Hag's philosophy at the time, you want to play out from the back, you want that Ajax style, even though he said he couldn't play it. I understood it. You're bringing in a keeper as well, by the way, who was basically the best goalkeeper in the Champions League. Had a phenomenal campaign. So at the time, £45 million, I was like, I get the deal. I completely understand it. The issue is, it just hasn't. Sometimes players don't climatise to the league. They don't adapt properly. And I didn't realise actually how injury prone he was. He is super, not injury prone, error prone. Super error prone. I never saw that in Milan. Maybe it's because I didn't watch him week in, week out, and maybe he did have it there. But I never really saw any kind of highlights or any fumbles from him when I was looking into him as a goalkeeper, doing analysis when we first bought him. But based on it right now, the situation I'm looking at, there's not a chance I would keep him as a goalkeeper. Not a chance. I think we need a new one. But the issue is for United at the moment is because we need so many players, the priority on the list is right down there. Like, think of it if we go through it together, right? I would say we need a new goalkeeper. I would probably say in the reality of the situation, you need a centre-half, maybe a couple of centre-halves, so that's 3 players. You need 2 wing-backs for sure, and you probably need depth in those areas, but let's just call it 2 wing-backs, so that's 5 players. You need a specialist in the midfield, and maybe an Edison or a Reinders or someone like that. And then you need someone who fits the profile of that inside 10, like an attacking player, and then you need a striker. Basically, like a really seasoned striker. That's 8-9 players. Now, Ralph Rangnick left this club a couple of years ago, and at the time he said, you're going to need to remove 10 players and buy 10 players, and everybody laughed at him. And we're still at that point right now, because Ten Hag's recruitment was shit. It was awful. So, welcome to United. This is the club, unfortunately. I'd rather Dalot dropped, have Amad at right wing back and played Mainu, but Amarin clearly wants defensive stability tonight. I would like to see Mainu in one of those attacking, where Garnacho or Amad is. Take Garnacho out, put Mainu up there, Mainu, Højlund and Amad, I would like to see, because I think Mainu operates best when he's near the 18-yard box. Like the goal we scored against Wolves, for example. That's where he operates the best. You know, he's press resistant, he can dribble in between players. He's obviously got an eye for goal, which we saw against Liverpool and against Wolves. Like, he can score one. I think he would suit that role more. But Amarin obviously just doesn't seem to fancy him there for whatever reason. I don't know. But I do want to see him there. And he just doesn't seem to fancy Mainu in general. I don't think, like, obviously he's played in there and he'll probably appreciate him as a talent, but what he specifically wants and requires from the roles in that midfield, maybe Mainu doesn't fit that bill, you know? Onana's mistakes are the basics too. Bayandera is a mistake in him, but I'll take him over Onana 8 days a week. Mainu should play in front of Bruno. Yeah, I agree. I really think that lineup unlocks this club. Expand on that, Craig. What do you mean by that? No ambition from Ineos. How do you appoint a new manager for what, 7-10 mil, I think, and then give him 0 backing is a fucking joke. The potential battle between Leacher and Adama is going to be exciting because of the opening day game versus Fulham. Right, let's have a look at Fulham's team, because it's all good making assessments and tactical points, and then when you look at Fulham's team, it could be completely different. So I don't know what to expect from their side. Let's have a look. Bert Leno, Timothy Castagna, Joaquim Anderson, Calvin Bassett, Anthony. Can I just say as well, praise the Lord, there is a team that's put a graphic out that have actually done it by position rather than alphabetically or numerically, where you're looking at the team and there's like Leno's up top and fucking Iwobi's at right back. You know what I mean? He finally done it where it's like, you know, proper, which is how it should be. Bert Leno in net, Timothy Castagna at right back, Joaquim Anderson, Calvin Bassett, and Robinson. I like Joaquim Anderson, don't rate Calvin Bassett personally. I think he's a terrible footballer. Sanderberg and Lukic in the middle. One of them are going to get a yellow card, I can promise you that. Harry Wilson, Emil Smith-Rowe, Alex Iwobi, and Raul Jimenez. That's quite an attacking team, to be fair. I reckon Fulham would be fancying this today. They will. They'll know if we turn up and we're cohesive as a team and we press the life out of them and we just constantly, you know, badger them when they're on the ball, they'll win. Obviously, they've got the kind of wild card on the bench in Adama Traore. They've got Muniz on there, who I rate as a player. Kearney can come on and do a job. Andreas Pereira, we know all about. That's a good team. And they are mid-table for a reason, 10th. They fell off a little bit recently. I think they've picked up quite a lot of draws from whenever I've watched them. But look, they're still above us in the table, and comfortably, by the way. Fulham on 33 points, Man United on 26 points. So we are 7 points behind Fulham. 7 points behind Fulham. 7 points. That is crazy. Even if we beat them today, 4 points behind them, still. That is utter madness. Utter madness. We're on 26 points. City are on 41, so we're 15 points off the top 4. Just fucking diabolical. I don't even think we're going to finish in the top half of the table this season. And we'll go above West Ham if we win. No, we'll go above West Ham, and Crystal Palace will go back up to 12th. That's where we're at, because Brentford won today. Obviously, Brighton dropped points, didn't they, against Fulham. I mean, you don't even think about Villa, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Newcastle, any of them teams, because we are nowhere near it. Nowhere near any of them. We're lucky in a sense that you've got Tottenham, because Tottenham have been so shit. I don't know if anyone watched Tottenham before. My God. Absolutely awful. Honestly. They've got to sack Ange Postecoglou. I'm telling you right now, they have to sack him. They cannot keep him. What minute are we in the Villa game? Let's double check that. We're lucky we got them, because they're below us. I think if Everton win their next game, I think they go above Tottenham, because they've got a game in hand. If you can't sack Ange because of that, I don't know. So let them take all the heat and the pressure at the minute. They're the banter club. We're just above them. But we lose to Fulham today, and we are in that conversation with Spurs. We really are. That's how poor we've been. So I'm praying they put in a performance tonight. But much like the Brighton game, I have to be honest with you people, I'm worried about this one. I think Fulham, in the way they play, are like our kryptonite, to be honest. Oh, West Ham have just scored. Well, I say just scored. They scored 15 minutes ago. So that's 1-1 now, that game. Yeah. Oh, God. Who's come out? Morgan Rogers. Edson Alvarez has been booked. I see Kamara to be booked. I'll keep an eye on that. I reckon Villa will probably get a winner in there. Mo saying any Onana mistakes tonight should be put him at second choice going forward. So true. I've had about 3 mind failures trying to work out who's playing where in our team. We have no consistency. That's One of the biggest playing issues at United is cohesion and consistency, because we chop and change all the time. Now, obviously, we're trying to get used to this new system now. Amorim knows the squad has struggled with injuries before, right? So when he first came in, he was tinkering and he was like, I don't want to play someone too much. And then they're out for 6 months or what have you. I think the favoured back three at the minute, I would probably say De Ligt, Maguire and Martinez, what it is today. The wing backs is Dallow's typically left wing back. I think he's played the most there. And then it tinkers between Mazraoui and Amad. Ugarte would be a starter in the midfield, but then it tinkers between Bruno and Kobe in there. And then Amad, again, is the best attacking player, but then Garnacho's been in and out. Højlund's first start in fucking God knows how long. So, yeah. The reason why Liverpool are so successful, especially at the moment, obviously when Slot came in, he already had a fantastic team to work with. It was a team that went quite far in all 4 competitions, right? But then we knocked him out. Wink, wink. But he's come in, and they've had players that have been there for years, that know each other, that have worked together in the same, pretty much the same system, whether it be 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, whatever you want to call it. The same back five has been Robertson, Alisson, Van Dijk, Konate, and Trent for a while. Yes, people have come and gone, people have started, but predominantly it's been them as a core 4, right? I know they changed the midfield, but that midfield has cohesion in it now. Usually, typically, what is it? Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gravenberch, who's been fantastic. And then you know it's going to be Salah, probably going to be Gakpo, and Diaz as your front three. So you know week in, week out who the best players are, who are going to play there. We don't. No one can tell me who our best striker is at the moment. No one can tell me who plays the best in one of those attacking roles at the minute. No one can tell me who our best wing backs are. No one can tell me who's the best midfielder to put alongside Ugarte. No one can tell me, you know, systematically no one can tell me, sorry, who's the best goalkeeper. They're the fundamental issues that we are facing, people. Bruno's passing is best suited further back in this system. Bruno also tracks back as well as anyone in the midfield. He likes to roam, which makes no sense in the final third of the pitch. I agree with that, Craig, to a certain extent, but I've watched him in games, Bruno Fernandes, against Arsenal, for example, where he was forcing it a bit too much. And his positional discipline at times can fall a little bit when he's getting stressed or when we're chasing a game. That's why I don't necessarily like him in that role, and I wouldn't permanently. I don't mind him filling in there at times when we need to, but I want a player who systematically fits us. I would go and get Edison from Atalanta alongside Ugarte. Harry Wilson on Dalot was a huge one tonight for me. Wilson's been on fire for about a month, and Dalot's so shaky on the left, very, very nervous. Yeah, Wilson's been unbelievable. Nana, no. We have Fulham's number like Brighton has ours. Somehow we usually turn up at Cottage. I have to be honest, lads, a lot of people have said that to me. People have been putting it in the chat. They was all discussing it before. Chivy, Sam, Aaron, them lot. I'm worried about this game. Have to be completely honest. Really, really worried about it. I just don't see us getting a result. Really, really don't. I think Fulham are our kryptonite. I will probably say that a million times today, but I genuinely believe that. So I hope not. As always, I hope United win. Hope it's comfortable. Hope we score loads of goals. Hope we batter him. But the reality of the situation is, I was just speaking about the league, right? And where we are in the league is fucking miles off it. So, and that's for a reason. It's because against teams like your Bournemouths, like, who else have we lost to? Let's go through some of our more shocking results. Not fixtures, I want results. Let's go for the teams that we lost to, right? That we shouldn't have done, let's say, for example. Southampton, don't forget, I know we won that game, but fuck me. We lost to Wolves, 2-0. Didn't even score a goal against them. We lost to Bournemouth, 3-0. Didn't score a goal against them. We lost to Spurs. Don't forget that, in the Cup. We drew to Ipswich. We lost to West Ham. We've lost to teams, the majority of teams below us, which is madness, isn't it? We lost to Tottenham again. We drew to FC20, who are the lowest rank coefficient team in the Europa League. So let's remind ourselves, people. I want to be positive. I don't want to be that negative guy, but we need to face reality. Let's not stop sugarcoating the players and our performances and just appreciate where we are at. You know what I'm saying? Andrew will be sacked after the cup games, and they'll play us just after all that madness, which means somehow the new manager's going to spank us. We always get a manager bounce. Always get a manager bounce. It's happened so many times. I remember against Sevilla in the Europa League, they got a new manager. When Unai Emery first came in, we played them. When Nuno Espirito Santo first came in at Forest, we played them. Always happens to us. I don't even moan about it anymore now because it just happens. I'm hearing Rashford to West Ham. I don't know how they afford that financially, UTFR. Genuinely, don't know how they afford that. Absolute trip. He says, pleased to see Garnacho starting. It'd be absolutely batshit to sell him. I still think they're going to, personally. James is saying Rashford won't be going to West Ham. They would be able to pay. Yeah, exactly. The wing-backs are a problem. They're too defensive. They're the most important players, and they're simply not good enough. Dallo is awful. Maz is a defender, not a wing-back. Agree. That Robinson who you just mentioned, that is someone who would fit us, because in the final I think he's the best wing-back in the final third, Robinson. Genuinely. Really, really good. And he is definitely someone I would bring in. Watch him today. He'll tear us apart. He'll tear us a new one. A couple of quotes coming in from Ruben Hamarin, so let's read them out. In the end, if we win, not even playing so well, it's important to us. We have to focus because it's the only way to focus on performance as we want to improve with the ball. We want to give us more time without suffering with the goal because that is important. When we have this type of game and we don't suffer in the beginning, we can control the game. On Garnacho, he says he's our best player, and I'm really happy with Garnacho. Oh, he is our player, sorry, not our best player, Jesus. Imagine if a coach said that. I'm really happy with Garnacho. He's improving a lot, and I think he had a very good game last Thursday. He's a young kid, so he can recover very well. He's prepared for this game. We want to use all the talent Garnacho to help us win. And then on Marco Silva, he says he has a real experience here. He's Portuguese, so he understands the way I'm trying to play quite well. He's a great guy, a real top coach. He's doing amazing things here in the game. I think the most difficult thing is that he understands English and Portuguese football. He knows what my ideas are. Amarin sounds worried about this game. This is what I'm talking about. Kryptonite, people. Fulham are our kryptonite. Has that Villa game finished yet? I don't think it has. Still 1-1. Always one card to let me down. Always. Pisses me off. It's weird watching Wan-Bissaka there now as well, isn't it? Dead bizarre, man. Right, let's get some not predictions, but start putting in your betting slips. I was going to sound like Ange then. Start putting in your betting slips. Yeah, what do you think? 4 things that are going to happen in this game. So give me something like a yellow card, I don't know, a shot on target, someone to score an assist, and maybe a correct score or a result or something. Let me know. I mean, Punch Paint's gone early. Garnacho scores today. Mainu scores off the bench today. My bold predictions. Off the bench? Onana lets in a bad goal, and we will win this 2-1. I don't like how many people are speaking about Onana making a mistake. Really don't like that. I've put money on don't copy him. Don't copy him just because I've said this. Please don't, because I don't want to be that guy who go, you told me to put this on and I didn't win it. But I've gone with Bruno outside the box. I think it's like 11-1 to score. So I've whacked that on just because I thought, yeah, I've seen him score a few against Fulham. And I think there was a stat I saw the other day against Fulham. He had the game for his most shots on target, which was like 4 or 5, I think, and it came against them. So I'm taking I don't want to put any correct scores or anything like that. But yeah, how has Kamara not been booked yet? Sorry, he's had 4 fouls. Jesus Christ. I think Ghana stays for the sole reason Ineos can't buy a viable replacement and they'll lose the fan support. I was there against Fulham when Garnacho scored that goal. It was mint. Yeah. Wow. How long ago was that now? Was that Ten Hag's first season, I want to say? At Craven Cottage. It was just before international break, wasn't it? I'm sure we had quite a bit of pressure on us heading into that break. And it was like, oh, if we draw this game, I can't be arsed. And then he just came up with that magic where he outsprinted, just got his body around the player and finished. And that was kind of his moment where he arrived, wasn't it? I know obviously his overhead kick was phenomenal, but I did feel like that was the moment where everyone was like, "Oh, okay, Garnacho." Bruno yellow, Ugarte yellow. Yeah, that's just guaranteed to happen, isn't it? Not sure about a betting slip. I do think Garner will get a goal today. He had a few chances against Rangers and found the stand. He will want one. Does everyone categorically want Garnacho to stay then? Because I feel like a lot of people are torn on this situation, aren't they? They don't know what to think. I don't know. I watched him perform like he did against Rangers. And I'm like, I guess there's obviously a player there. He's obviously super talented. But then this is your window now where you let him go. You bring in someone who fits the system more. The team plays better because of it. And you get a good amount for him. Or do you continue with him, make him still a bit part player, then you have to take less for him. I don't know. I feel like it's now or never with Garnacho. You either keep him, trust him, expect him to develop into this role, and then if he wants to go to Madrid 3 or 4 years down the line when he improves even more, then go for that, you know? Or you sell him now, make sure you get 65, 70 million pound for him and then reinvest it. Because hand on heart now, if someone came in and they said, we will give you 70 million pounds for Garnacho, and we know we can go and buy Cunha or someone like that and put him in that team, I'd do it like that. Like that. Because I think it would be better for the team. We can't just... I don't believe we can just, just do it for the sake of, oh, well, let's just keep a player. Let's make it about individuals. If it's going to make us better, as a unit, as a side, do it. That's the bottom line for me. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Garner's 20 years old. If he was any older, sure, but he's still so young, so you have to let him level up and increase his value. Will his value increase, though, if he's not playing? That's my question. Red card, Onana to throw. Oh, there's another... Someone else is saying an Onana mistake. No. You're all putting it into the air now. Geordie in the chat. Howdy, lads. You lot are doing all right, aren't you? No, I'm not arsenic. I've said previously on the live, I feel the need is greater for a quality left wing back than what Garner brings. We can replace Garner for now. We don't have anyone for the left-hand side. We are crying out for someone, aren't we? That whole Dorgu situation as well is not helping things because they're like, oh, no, we want more. It's like, you only want more because it's fucking United that are in town. If it was anyone else, you won't bat a fucking eyelid, basically. But because it's United, nope. We want an extra 10 million, and we're not going to move until we get it. So, cheers, lads. I was in the new stand. That's apparently a neutral stand. The stadium's proper nice. Beers by teams. Are you on Craven Cottage? You're on about? UTFR. Lecce club record is 15 mil, for fuck's sake. Justice Woodward tax. It is. It is. Because what'll happen is when these guys go into a negotiating room, they'll go, right, how you doing, sir? Let's say Lecce's sporting director's called Bob, right? They'll go into a room and they go, all right, Bob, how you doing, sir? Yep, very well. Let's discuss the deal. Let's sit down, Americano? Yeah, sure, get it in. Let's sit there with the coffees, and they'll be like, okay, right, so we've had a look at Patrick in depth. We've seen the appearances he's made, starting to push into the international development. We like his profile. We appreciate you guys are in a relegation battle, so we think £25 million is a fair offer. If you look at Udogie, went to Spurs for around 20 million. You look at the majority of wing-backs who have gone from the Italian league to the Premier League recently, it's been around that figure, and they've gone, nah, we know what you paid for players. We know you paid 85 million for Anthony. We know you paid 80 million for Maguire. They'll go through a whole... We know you paid 80 million for Sancho, but like all these ridiculous prices. Go through our team at the moment. We know how much you paid. You paid 30 mil for Ahmad before he was even a thing. So we want 30 to 40 million. You paid 70 million for Rasmus Højlund, who had scored 9 goals in his whole career at Atalanta, I think. So, they made... It's impossible for United to negotiate when you've done so many fucking shocking deals, genuinely. But that we'll live with that for a while until Ineos kind of put that marker down to say that we're not that team anymore. And that comes through strength and negotiating and not going against your word. Do you know what I mean? Macmillan saying I would watch the video James from Uppeteers just did. What's it about? Because we're going to get him on Tuesday anyway, so we'll probably end up speaking about a similar thing, picking his brain. Apparently, Sir Mazraoui is warming up at wing-back with Dallo on the right. Left wing-back, sorry, which is interesting. Paqueta's got a groin injury, so he's out. That's devastating. So we've got Paquetá and Jared Bowen they've lost. The best players. Jesus Christ. I suppose it's better for us because West Ham are in our rear view mirror at the minute. Well, they're ahead of us, I think, in the league at the minute. So, I suppose it is good news. Glad to see Bruno and Ugarte in midfield. I think it's a better balance and we're more dangerous with 3 natural attackers up front. We don't have that when Bruno plays. I think that is the key thing for me. What I really want to see today is that front 3. How it coordinates. Do they look for each other? Is it still very individualism? You know, that's what I want to see. I want to see how Rasmus does as well. Because there's been a lot of games where I've watched him with Rasmus and he can't get the fundamentals correct for a striker. Your first touch, holding it off, linking play. He has moments where he does it and you're like, okay. And then it kind of fades and he fades in the game and he spends the majority of the time wrestling centre-backs. And I think that does help, of course, with the players that are around him. You know, they need to look for him and they need to drag players out when Højlund's on the ball. You know, just movement around him helps. People don't appreciate that. Think in a football game, you spend probably 90% of the time, 95% of the time without the ball. So as an individual player, you know, a lot of the time your movement is off the ball. People don't really take that into account when you're mentioning tactics or, you know, games or what have you. A lot of it's intelligence, movements off the ball, dragging players elsewhere. People don't look at that because they're so concentrated on the ball and where that's going. Look at other players around him. Dragging, it's natural movement. Some players are amazing at it who have been in the game for a long, long time. Salah is incredible at it. His spatial awareness is probably the best in the league when you talk about attackers. So that's something we need to improve off the ball. Our attacking phases are dog shit at the minute. Terrible. Yeah. Right. I am going to get into my betting slip. I'm going to go with... let me have a think. Well, I said I've got Bruno outside the box. So Bruno Fernandes to score outside the box. Yeah. Lisandro Martinez to get a yellow card. Fulham to win the game. Garnacho shot on target. Bosh. There's your 4. Ding, ding, ding. Lucky Singh saying, I want to be physically nasty as possible. Any team, 2-2. UTFR says there's 2 left-backs who are mint in Italy. DeMarco and Hernandez. No way dog who's worth 40 million. To be fair, though, I think for Hernandez, they probably want about 70 million, wouldn't they? 60, 70 million. Because he's unbelievable. He's probably one of the best left-backs in the world. DeMarco equally as well. I think he's phenomenal. He'd be amazing for United. Absolutely amazing. Let's see if there's any more quotes coming in. I want to see some quotes from Marco Silva. He's put anything out. We discussed the bench. We've not talked about the bench yet. Let me get the bench up. So I want to see who we can bring on to change the game. Probably no one. Has Anthony gone yet? Or is he on the bench? Yeah, Anthony's gone, hasn't he? Yeah. Right, here's the benches. Sorry, people. Bayern Day, Lindelof, Xerxes, Malacio, Eriksson, Yoro, Casemiro, Mainu, Collier. Who the fuck do you bring off the bench there to change the game? Xerxes. Yeah, you can bring in Collier, minutes, energy, legs. If you need to take Ugarte off, I'm sure Yoro can come on for a delay. You know, Eriksson maybe 10 minutes, a little bit of creativity. That's a shit bench, that, isn't it? Who are you bringing off there to, you know, Casemiro not played a game in years. Malacia hasn't looked great at all. Lindelof's just come back from an injury. You're not going to change keepers. It's not much. There's no hope. Especially if a player got injured today in our front line, we would be fucked. This is why I'm saying United need to invest money. United need to go buy players, man. Because obviously Rashford's by the wayside. You might get rid of Garnacho. You are so light up top. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And that's why people, I think, will struggle today. I think Fulham win this game 2-1. I think Bruno will get a goal or an assist. But I think Fulham will win. But regardless, you know the script, people. Lose, draw, win. We will be live after the game. I don't know who's on the post-match. Usually it's me, Sam, and Chive. I don't know if Chive's going to be on it, but it'll definitely be me and Sam on it, discussing the full game in depth. So it'd be nice to see as many of you as possible there. Make notes during the game. Watch it. I really want to use to come with your A game in the post-match review. So it'd be nice to see us there. Enjoy it if you can. I think it's going to be a struggle. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like on the video for us and subscribe to the channel if you can as well, just to be extra cheeky. And the last question, why do you think Ruben's frozen Marcus out? Because he isn't applying the standards that he expects in training. I think it's simple as that. I'll see you after the game.